done? And when it shifts to the counties, do the counties have a scheduled time for canvassing, or are they allowed to start whenever they receive results from the municipalities?
Yeah, thanks for the question. And, you know, it is sort of a cascading series of events and timelines that's laid out by the statutes. So today's 4 o'clock deadline is for the municipalities to begin to route their materials to their county. The county then, once they receive the materials, each county will notice, just like the municipality did, they'll notice when their canvass is going to occur. And the same thing happens at the municipal level. They notice their municipal boards of canvass. And then once that's complete and the county receives the materials, the county then convenes their county board of canvassers and begins their certification process. So it is going to vary by jurisdiction, by county, when they convene those boards, but they'll all be publicly noticed and they'll be available for people to observe and engage with.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Next is Scott Bauer.
Hey, Megan, thanks again for doing this call. Can you talk to me a little bit about provisional ballots? How many, do we have an idea of how many are out there? And if not, can you give some historical perspective on how many we should assume might be out there?
Yeah, thanks so much for that question. You know, and that's another, thanks for bringing up provisional ballots too. So provisional ballots is if somebody didn't
Workers are demanding they're treated as essential every day, including frontline workers at Planned Parenthood health centers across the state and across the country. Black people and people of color are demanding
How are we feeling about the
change
election
today, and women know we decide elections. All our voices must be heard, and they absolutely will be. This counting is going to take some time, and that's okay, because it's what we expected. And we will be here fighting for Planned Parenthood patients and all people. We always have, and we absolutely always will. Even as the county continues, it's clear that sexual and reproductive health care was absolutely on the ballot this election. The current administration and their allies in Congress have worked tirelessly across this country to pass policies to stack the Supreme Court with people that want to take away our fundamental right to health care. And this is not what the American people want. The majority of Americans support access to safe legal abortion. The majority of Americans demanded that Congress take action to pass more COVID relief so that people can get the health care they need and the economic relief they deserve. And the need to protect people against the health and economic impact of COVID is absolutely what played a pivotal role in the outcome in state elections and across the country. The nation needs a real plan and a comprehensive COVID relief package immediately. It has exacerbated global and domestic inequalities, including in Black communities and other communities of color in the United States and right here in Connecticut. The president has also failed to address any of that historic pain and persistent, crippling racial inequality. Sadly, even before the pandemic, some politicians, in an effort to keep the systems of white supremacy in place, used voter suppression tactics to restrict access to the ballot for people of color, especially Black people, who overwhelmingly support sexual and reproductive health results, it's clear that our country cannot wait another moment for racial justice. So we are going to continue to fight. We're going to fight even harder to ensure that every vote is counted, but we're also going to fight to ensure that healthcare is actually a realized right for every human being in our state and across this country. Because regardless of what happens at the Supreme Court, we also know that access to safe legal abortion, contraception, is not accessible to all people. Legal rights mean nothing if people do not have access to it. And we know when the Supreme Court takes up the Affordable Care Act case, we know that millions of people are at risk for losing their health care. And so I need you to all continue to fight, to show up in community, to make sure that everyone has the access to the health care they need and deserve, and that we finally provide some economic relief to all the people across our state and country that are suffering because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Planned Parenthood will continue to fight alongside you and make sure that every vote is counted, because healthcare is a human right.
All right, let's give it up for Ms. Gretchen Rappa. You know, something that she really hit on pretty well was the fact that, you know, we need change. Really sweeping change. There's a sentiment that's been going around that there's a need to get back to normal. And I think if we're able to do a little bit reflecting post-COVID, we don't need normal. Normal was a world where, you know, as right now, black and brown people get murdered on the street. Normal is where people in this country can die from not having the correct medical insurance that in other countries costs way less. Normal is a world where, our old normal was a world where people would get evicted and have to live on the streets, where we have condos and apartments open, not really with anybody living in them. That is not the normal we need. We need change, and we need revolutionary change. And our next speaker that we're going to introduce over here is somebody that's no stranger to speaking truth to power when it comes to advocating for these. She's no stranger and is in the community getting that vital work done. Because this work happens in community. We need every single one of us working together because it takes a village. And sometimes you really do have to dare to agitate power, to get power upset. So every single one of those people that we elected in the office, we're going to be holding you accountable to our morals and our standards. And this is somebody that's no stranger to that. So I'd like to invite Miss Ala Alochumar from Black Lives Matter New Hampshire.
Can everybody hear me? Can everybody hear me? Thank you so much for coming out here and being in community. It's something, a unique vein to what everyone has said today. Being community. Now, like we just heard, we do not want to go back to the normal. The normal was my life not mattering. It has never, ever mattered here in America, unfortunately. Unless, of course, it was at the benefit of systems that were able to monetize my life and my ancestors' lives. And actually, each and every one of your lives. And so we are here, continuing the fight that almost, hopefully, all of us have already been. And if this election has been your entryway into stepping into this work, into seeing and stepping outside of what we have been normalized into thinking, and deciding that you do not have to perpetuate anti-blackness, anti-queerness, all the things that this system has created, has normalized us into doing. Not only does your vote matter, but your decisions matter. How we treat each and every one of us, not in election years, matter. Unfortunately, something else, know that those two things are very much the same thing. If you were a union organizer, know that union organizing and the movement for Black Lives is very much the same thing. Any advocacy, any organizing that you do for the betterment of people is a Black movement. Why? Because Black people make up every demographic that there is. So when you fight for the equality and equity that you seek in your life at your point of oppression, please understand that you are also fighting for equity and equality and those same points of oppression for me. And so I fight for each and every one of you, for us to redevelop what normal is, for us to really truly embody what Black Lives Matter means, for you to humanize me like you seek for me to humanize you. And if this election does nothing, please, please let it begin to be a point of rehumanization and unlearning for all of us. Because there is some kind of oppression that we have perpetuated as well. And if we seek for the government to change, it is us that must first change. Because then how we vote, what we do, what we care about will change. So thank you for voting. But please know that it does not stop after you get the answers to this election. Please know that it did not begin at the point of this election. It began when this country decided that capitalism and money was more important than each and every one of us. Thank you.
Yep, we're going to make every vote count, but we're going to still keep up that fight. Next up, we have a couple of announcements from a couple groups. First up, we have Ula and Megan coming in to give us a couple announcements.
Good afternoon. I want to just announce that at 5 o'clock we're going to continue rallying to count every vote. And it will be in the Fairhaven neighborhood on the corner of Van Ness and Ferry Street. All right. Can you hear me? Okay, so I want to announce that the rallies continue because we know that until every vote is counted, we don't have election results. We don't have election results until every vote is counted. So as you know, the rallies are continuing across the state of Connecticut, and here in New Haven, in the Fairhaven neighborhood, there will be a rally at 5 o'clock on the corner of Grand Avenue and Ferry Street. And that's in the heart of one of New Haven's immigrant neighborhoods. And the rally is called by ULA, Unidad Latina en Acción, and Black and Brown United in Action. And everyone is invited to lead the movement going and to bring it to the neighborhoods. Because we know that we have to raise our voices for every vote to be counted. And we know that whoever's in the White House, it's going to be people power that's going to make the change. And it's us who are going to stand up for migrant rights, for workers' rights, for health care, for environmental justice. It's going to take all of us. It starts today, and it doesn't end until every vote is counted. So I invite you to join ULA and Black and Brown United and folks in the Fairhaven neighborhood at 5 o'clock today on the corner of Grand Avenue and Ferry Street. I also invite you to stop in if you do go into City Hall. I'm not sure if it's closed down.
Yep.
ULA recently built an altar for the Day of the Dead, which was on November 1st and November 2nd inside of City Hall. I the living and urge everyone to vote against hate. So the caravan continues tonight. We know that our work doesn't end on election day. We know that we're going to be on the streets and we're going to be organizing people power until every vote is counted and until we can honor the living and honor our dead and make migration and make war dignified. Thank you so much.
All right, next up we have an announcement from the Working Families Party. We'd like to give it up for the Working Families Party for helping us organize this event. They've been great partners and good comrades in the fight. Hi everyone, how's everybody doing? So my name is Luis. I am an organizer of the Working Families Party. And I just have a quick announcement. So you probably already heard about Wisconsin was just won by Biden. So really excited about that. So I just wanted to two things. The first thing is that this afternoon, this evening at 8 p.m. there's going to be a national strategy call. We want to make sure that like all the votes are counted. So if you go through that yellow sign, put it up. On that yellow sign, there's a number to text. So if you text CT 2020 to 3043, you can get a link to the strategy call in the National Working Families Party and another coalition strategy call. And that's really important because in states like Wisconsin, in states like Pennsylvania, we have seen voter suppression on our faces. So we want to make sure that we are part of it and that we organize around that. The other thing I wanted to mention too is that this Saturday at 11 p.m. How we feeling? Sorry, 11 a.m. There's going to be a rally in Hartford. On the back? Maybe not in this direction, but we're going to get there. We got to keep our democracy if we want to get there in the first place. Nadine is going to let folks know about that. And the last thing I wanted to mention is also I wanted to elevate the voices of all the organizers who came and spoke. We are in the midst of a crisis, of an environmental crisis, of a racial upheaval crisis, the pandemic. And these things are what is galvanizing us to organize. And since Trump was elected, we have seen hundreds of thousands of people being activated because of what's happening, because the pandemic and this president has really opened up the underbelly of the system. So what gives me hope is to see all of you, to see young people like Dave Bustamante, who's organizing, who came out and spoke to us about the importance of taking care of our environment and organizing around our environment. So thank you all. Remember to text to join. The strategy call is today at 8 p.m. So remember to text CT 2020 to 3043 and you'll get some updates. And thank you very much.
When do we want it? When do we want it? When do we want it?
You just heard, we finished counting up some of those votes in Wisconsin, and it appears that Biden is going to be winning them. But we still need to count those votes, count every vote. And solidarity with those people, because I know that there's people out there in Wisconsin fighting against that voter suppression. I know there's people in Georgia fighting against that voter suppression. I know there's people in Pennsylvania fighting against that voter suppression. And that's what's going to be what pulls us through. And up next we have a group that knows a lot about social and about solidarity. They're ready to give us an announcement, the DSA, the Central CC DSA. Can y'all hear me? Yep. All right. My name is Jason. I'm an organizer and member of the Central Committee of America. I'm not going to give y'all too much of a spiel because we've got a table over there with some free water, snacks, hand sanitizer if anybody needs them. We definitely encourage y'all to get involved. We have a couple of events coming up
that we would love for everybody to participate in. This weekend on Sunday, we're going to have an open forum discussion on the election results and just what our path forward is as people concerned about our communities. So joining us that's on Facebook, I believe, the event, as well as Action Network. You can check out our table over there, you can find all that. As well as we've got a bunch of upcoming, we like to call them socialist night schools, just chances for us union members and for us to learn collectively about socialism to start applying here in Connecticut. The big one I want to advertise is on November 14th. We're going to have a day of tenant teach-ins and learning both in Hartford and New Haven. So please joining us for that. And definitely check out our table. We have a whole bunch of other events where you can get involved. Thank you, everybody, and definitely thank you for all the people who have been involved in organizing this, especially some of the people who have not had the chance to spoke despite put in a lot of hard work today. So really, thank you, everybody. Next up, several organizations. We have Melinda with a quick announcement. Bravo, Nelson.
Ninguém profissional na técnica debate, entuziasmani I consequenze se sabrali tutti isti.
Indeed, I just want to mention the race across the border in our neighbouring state of Nevada as well. Election officials there have said that they're not going to be releasing any more information on what's going on in Nevada until tomorrow morning, Thursday morning US time. That's because they want to give the election officials space to keep counting, but it's tight there too. That's a Democrat state at the moment. Hillary Clinton took that state back in 2016. 86% of the vote has been counted in Nevada. Biden fractionally ahead, but many of the votes still to be counted there come from the populous Clark County, which is essentially the county where the city of Las Vegas is. Voters there tend to be more Democrat leaning, so it's looking goodish for him there. As I said, here in Arizona, 86% of the vote counted. Biden is ahead, but it is still too close to call, and this really could end up being a pivotal state, potentially even the tipping state. We'll have to wait and see.
We will indeed, Hannah, thank you. Well, let's get some more detail now on the key votes. Here's Sophie Ridge, and Sophie, it's all about that very important Rust Belt, isn't it?
It really is. Those states in the industrial north that propelled Donald Trump to the White House last time round. And last night it looked like things may be going the same way when Donald Trump picked up Ohio. He also picked up Iowa. But I just want to have a look at the three grey states yet to declare: Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, because things there are now looking pretty tight. They may be coming to a head as well. So let's go to Pennsylvania first, because this is where Donald Trump has got the most decisive lead. 53.4% for Donald Trump, but only 80% of votes are in. The ones still to be counted are postal ballots. They tend to favour the Democrats. So it may be that Joe Biden starts to do a little bit better than this. It's a different story, though, in Michigan. You can see here Joe Biden is starting to edge into the lead here, 49.6% of the vote, with 94% all in. And a similar story too in Wisconsin. In Wisconsin, Joe Biden again nudging into the lead, 49.4% with 99% of the vote in. So really things are getting to the crunch time here in Wisconsin. And we know that Donald Trump is worried because he has demanded a recount in Wisconsin. He's within his right to do it because it's less than 1% that Joe Biden leads him by. So very, very close. Let's have a little bit of a drill into the data, shall we, in Wisconsin, because this is where things start to get interesting. We start to learn what's really going on in the Rust Belt. And you can see in Milwaukee, so this is the big city in Wisconsin, Joe Biden is really powering into the lead. 69.1% of the vote is up on Hillary Clinton's vote share. So it's those big city, urban areas that are turning out for Joe Biden. He's also managed to flip one of the 22 pivot counties. Pivot counties are ones that voted twice for Barack Obama and then once for Donald Trump. So this is County, 49.9% of the vote there going to Joe Biden. But it's still pretty close, I have to say. Very, very close in this county. And also it's worth pointing out that only 2 of the 22 pivot counties have actually flipped and gone to Joe Biden. So this really suggests why things are so close in Wisconsin. Why does everyone care so much about the Rust Belt? It could be the path to power, the path to 270 electoral college votes for Joe Biden. Let's have a look. If I give Joe Biden Wisconsin, Michigan and Pennsylvania, very possible. If that happens, he's over the 273 winning line. And even if Donald Trump wins in Pennsylvania, if Joe Biden then picks up Nevada and Arizona, this happens. 270 right on the nose. So you can really see just how important that these key states are and why there's this big row happening already about Wisconsin and Michigan could be next. Well, let's have a look at exactly what is happening. The situation so far, our race to 270 electoral college votes. This is the current picture. 227 electoral votes for Joe Biden, 213 for Donald Trump, so really close. You might have thought that we'd have a president by now, a victor. Well, we certainly don't. Things are still all to play for. Back to you now, Julie.
They are indeed. Sophie, thank you. This is Sky News. Coming up, all the twists and turns as America decides.
And as England prepares for a second lockdown, cases rise and coronavirus deaths near 500 a day.
Never be defeated.
democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Please, stay hydrated. How's everyone doing here? How are we feeling? Are we going to win? Are we going to stop fascism? Are we going to stop the takeover of our democracy? Yeah! Well, it starts with movements like this one. I want to say, we've been marching. I don't even know what time it is, but we've been marching for a little bit now. We had a good conversation about privilege when in the front of the Fox News building, and I want to start by acknowledging that again. We need to acknowledge that. We want to center that. I don't like talking about my background, but I do. Sometimes I'm the son of a Filipino immigrant, a colonized people of the United States, people who weren't trusted by the United States government to have their own democracy. And those tactics are imported into this country as it becomes more diverse. As people of color become the majority, our government becomes more repressive because the old system is creaking under the diversity and the beauty of our country. And this is the president. God didn't want to give up. He doesn't want to give up. He calls diversity trainings bias against America. He says telling people that merely having a discussion about white privilege is racist against white people. And we need to reject that categorically as a generation and as a country. I want to start by acknowledging.
Here's the deal. I'm probably going to turn the stream off, by the way, for a few minutes because there's nothing going on. We'll come back later when and if they announce Trump. Whenever they declare a winner is when it'll get good. I think it's going to be today. I think it's going to be Trump. But I don't know. Once we get a winner, that's when the fighting will start.
Still fighting for its civil rights. The people of this city still cannot vote for Congress or Senate. We do not have budget autonomy.
Makes good on his threat to go to court. They have legal teams standing by. Earlier, Biden himself told his supporters not to give up.
Keep the faith, guys. We're going to win this.
As ballots in several Rust Belt states are still being counted, all eyes are on two swing states, Michigan and Wisconsin. After hours of counting ballots, Wisconsin and Michigan are still tallying votes for their official results. Here is Wisconsin's elections commissioner speaking earlier this afternoon.
I'm incredibly proud of the work done by Wisconsin's election officials, and I feel 100% confident in the election that they conducted, and that the laws that are established by our elected lawmakers were followed in yesterday's election.
For more on this, CBS News 2020 campaign reporter Adam Brewster joins me now from Detroit. Hi, Adam. Boy, you are where everybody wants to be right now. We just heard from the Michigan Secretary of State that it seems the cities are the only areas they're waiting on right now that they're counting: Detroit, Flint, Grand Rapids. Can you tell us the latest?
Well, so those are the main areas, Tanya, that they're focusing on. Of course, those areas have a lot more votes than some of the rural areas, but those were the main areas Secretary Benson highlighted. Earlier today, she had said, they were still waiting on about 100,000 ballots. I spoke to the clerk in Kent County. That's the home of Grand Rapids. They were waiting for 65